Hello, hello, hello. Hello. How are y'all doing tonight? That should be better. A little bit better. Oh, this one. Good enough. All right. So, I'm gonna give everyone a minute to get their notifications, get logged in here, come say hi. Okay. What is today? Today is the 3rd. 2nd. Immediately looks at the clock and ignores it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. We have a Archmage and an Assassin. And these models... Ah, the music is a little too loud. Okay. Trying this now here. How is that? Can you all still hear the music? Well, that's not right. My YouTube is not actually streaming. Right, so we're going to pop offline here for a minute. We're going to go ahead and do some troubleshooting here. All right, well, I'm not going to pop offline. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off this camera while I mess with some stuff. Alright, so I think we should be good now. Of course, I've been on mute the whole time. So, these are our two models. I'll say this again. This is the WizKids Rogue with two daggers. And here we have another one of those WizKids models with, I think this was Wizard. And again, a little bit farther into the project here, we will go ahead and I'll have a full list of everything that we've painted up. And I got a request from somebody to show painting on one of my live streams without doing a zenithal highlight. I countered with, I can just show how to do it with just basic spray paint and not using an airbrush to do acrylic ink, and they said, could you do it without that? And I said, okay. So we're going to do that today. We're just going to go ahead and paint this. And I have canker sores in my mouth today, so you're going to see me using this a bunch as I talk, but we're all good. So let's get started. Oh, fun fact, I got some new brushes as well. Buddy got me these for Christmas, and we finally got a chance to meet up, and he remembered to bring them. So we're going to be using these brushes today. I don't see a brand or anything on these, but they say detailed paintbrushes set 10 for, and I assume that's supposed to be for oils, models, Warhammer 40k, made in China. So, but I don't see any branding or anything on the package, so interesting. But what I like about these is they all have these little fancy tip covers that I absolutely adore. These little tubes. And these just slide right over your brush here like that, and it preserves the tip. And I'm usually pretty safe with these, but these little tip covers make everything just a little bit more comfortable. And you can see these brushes are actually really great. I'm really hope that they last well, because this might be a good go-to brush set for me in the future. I'm missing one of the little covers. There it is. Because you can see the super awesome tips on these models, on these brushes here. So let's go ahead and we'll grab one of these. Oh, I like that little elasticy. Just slides right out. Okay. And this is the number 4. Okay, so it's golden, I guess, is maybe the brand. Nice little ergonomic grip. Yeah, okay. Nicely done. What's cool about these is when you set them down, I think, yeah, you don't have to worry about the tip being on the ground there. So we're going to use these brushes today. Hells yeah, man. Awesome gift. Grab a couple of these. So shout out to you when you watch this. Thank you. He also got me a brush cleaner, but I'm never going to clean my brushes. No, I'm going to clean my brushes. It's just, I like to do it upstairs in front of the sink rather than down here in the basement. All right, so we're just going to grab a paper towel here. We're going to need a palette. So what do you guys think? Archmage or Assassin first? I think we'll start with the Archmage. Where do I want to put these little tubes? We'll just put them over here for now. That did not go into the trash can, but that's fine. Another little scraps of paper. Done more of these little scraps of paper everywhere. Okay. So looking at this here, we got his robes. I want to get the box art for this because part of the reason why I like to do a Zenithal is it's hard to pick out all the details when it's just solid matte black. So give me a minute. I'm gonna get the box for this guy so I can see it. So, box art time. It's actually a female Archmage. So pretty basic, just robes. Okay. And then here is our assassin sculpt. Oh, you guys can't see that with the glare, my bad. So there's the assassin sculpt. Pretty cool, simple and straightforward. And then here is our female Archmage. Is it Archmage or Archmage? I'm just gonna go with Archmage. So pretty much just robes. There aren't a lot of layers. You got some dangly bits over here at the side. I wish they'd shown this side because it looks like just a bunch of crazy bits and bobs. Yeah, super unhelpful nosers. Come on, guys. I'm gonna look at this one. Looks like just if it's anything like this, we can just kind of decide what's what, and it looks like just a component pouch, maybe something like that. But yeah, these are the two ones we got: the WizKids, and this is for the Rogue. It was the WizKids Deep Cut Pathfinder Battles. I just picked one of them. Okay, so mage robes. I think I want to do them in blue. I think blue is a really, really good mage color. So we're going to start with a base coat of game color Imperial Blue. But I'm going to move my mouse over a little bit so I can actually use it. Just a little bit of blue. So which one's bigger? Is this the 4? So this is the 4 and this is the 3. Start off with the 4 here. I'm gonna do the robes all in one color, I believe. There is a trim on this robe, but we're not gonna bother with the trim just yet, because we don't know what color we're gonna make it. This is definitely going to take 2 thin coats. Part of the downsides of priming in solid black is when you try and go into a color like blue, anything like that, it's really, really hard to get that coverage. But here we go. If we get anything pooling up here in the recesses, we'll just kind of move it along. Paint is way too thin. There we go. I think I may not have shaken this paint up enough. It's very, very thin. Yeah, that's very thin. Okay, we'll try that again. We'll give this a much better shake this time. I need to get one of those fancy nail polish shakers that shakes your paint perfectly in like 10 seconds. I have a back massager that I sometimes use with new paints, but okay, so let's see if we get as much separation here. No, okay, that's a little bit better. That is much better actually. Okay. Try this now. There we go. Now we're painting with gas. Still having trouble seeing all these details and stuff in here, so that looks like Robe. So it looks kind of like, it's just like there's chains in here. That's what I'm looking at. back here and get some of the spots that I missed as well. Jeez, these new brushes, these hold a lot of moisture. Oh my goodness. Maybe it's because they're meant for oils as well. I don't know if that affects anything at all. Don't want to lose our line here. It's very easy to lose lines and details, especially when you're using a black base coat and your paint's too wet. Okay, let's see what we got here. We're gonna do this. And here I'm just kind of making decisions, like where the detail is. Alright, now the top rope should be a lot easier here. Yeah, it's much easier here. We don't have all those crazy details and stuff to be looking at. And for consistency's sake, we're also going to paint the trim on the top because we painted most of the trim on the bottom. We'll probably do a matching trim here on the bottom and the top. So. My goodness, so much robe. Girl. Get some layers. You're the Archmage first. You're the Archmage. Okay, I'm just gonna look it up. Is it Archmage or Archmage? Because that's gonna keep bugging me, guys.
Archmage.
Okay. So yeah, you pronounce it arch as in arch, not arc. So for this section here with all of our spell components, I'm just going to put down a base coat of blue over everything here, I think. And we'll go through and we'll pick out the details here in a bit. But I'm going to be doing multiple layers and stuff, so we're just going to paint everything blue. It'll be a lot easier to pick out the details on top than it will be to clean up anything or go back and repaint things. Oh, found another spot we missed here. I'm going to try and do just one coat on the parts that are going to get trim colored. And again, let's check out our reference. Okay, so yeah, she's got a sash on too. Some little scaly boobabs all around. Some scaly doodads here in the back. So all in all, for such a simple sculpt, it seems to have a lot going on here. Get underneath the robe here. You won't ever really see this, so we're probably not going to do too much with it, but we'll make sure it's not black under here. And again, this is just the base coat for the robe. Jeez, lady, you got so much robe. She has robe for days. Okay, almost done here. And some of you might actually, if you watch any of my other streams, you might see what I'm talking about with just a solid black undercoat. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see where you've already painted. Frankly, I do enjoy a slight overcoat with white acrylic ink. Careful, best not to touch the face here.
Everything changes.
Faces are hard enough without us having to muck over our base coat. Here we go, glove. We're up to the wrist here. Okay. Okay. So there's our base coat in blue. Da-da-da-da. And this is what we're looking at now. So the areas in black will need to get a different color, but that should be all of our blue. Ta-da! And I'm going to show you the trick that I was talking about. If you don't have an airbrush and you have a model that you've primed in black, and you still want to paint it like with highlights and shadows, it's not really a trick. It's just kind of, you can find it all over the place on the internet. We're going to use a different spray can primer, and we're just going to lightly spritz the top. So I'm going to pop right over there to my airbrush booth real quick, and we're going to do that. So I will be right back. And this will save you a lot of strain on your eyes, which is what I'm starting to feel now with all that solid black. Okay. And boom, there we go. See, now we got our normal grayscale that we usually like to work with here on our channel. No, this isn't as good as an airbrush, but this is very, very easy to see all the places where we need our details. Brings all the details out, and anything that we miss during the process of painting is still going to get that nice benefit of being black. So like we have trouble getting down in there, it's going to be black. You're not going to be able to really see it. Oh. keep on keeping on. So well, for the base coat on the Archmage to dry, we're gonna start painting up our rogue. I think I'm gonna give her some nice leather armor. It looks like some chain in there as well. Just check out this. Ooh, studded armor. Well, I'm not gonna do that, but it looks a lot like chain. Yeah, this is obviously a 3D model rendering, and none of that detail came out in the print, so. I do like the ash gray look, though. So we'll do that. So we'll do ash gray on some of the portions here. Shake up our paint really well. It's one of these times where I'm looking at the model box art and it doesn't even look like it's the same model. Which is fine. Then we get to make some creative decisions, which I love doing. Actually just going to turn my wet palette because there's a little bubble right there. Alrighty. We're going to lay in all of our base coats here. Oh, she's got some daggers on that leg. It's actually pretty funny. So looking at this box art versus the model that I'm holding, I don't know if maybe they made some changes to the design, but there are definitely some details on there that aren't just missing because of a bad print or whatever, but just straight up different. It's very odd. You gotta love that. do like the very fine tip on these brushes. They seem to be holding up pretty well. Oh, I only have one of my lights on. Maybe that's why I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing the details. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. So I first thought Rogue, and I thought to myself, okay, super dark and sketchy character. I love the idea of that. But now I'm thinking, I like the idea of a Rogue with a little bit more spunk. This is an assassin, but it could be more like the assassin in white from the Stormlight Archives. You gotta wear white. Announce your presence. Alrighty. So now we're getting there. Let's see if we get anything in chats here. No, nothing in either of the chats here. Alright, so got the base coat down on some of her Under Armor there. Let's see here. Kinda think I hate everything else they did, so we're just gonna skip the rest of that. We're gonna make a decision here. What is that? Is that a cloak? We'll color that the same as her cloak here. Oh, what color should her cloak be? You can do a purple cloak, I think. Purple assassin-y cloak. A little ostentatious for an assassin, but there's many kinds of assassins. Sometimes you never see them coming, and sometimes they were right there all along, ready to assassinate you. Oh, I got my first little bit of spam email because of my YouTube channel today. I was very excited. It was one of those, hey, become an influencer, and all this other stuff. Like you pay a certain amount of money, and then you, or like you buy a product. And basically, it's just one of those things that they're trying to get free advertising for their products at the cost of their products or something like that. So I was very excited. Not to do any of the things because, well, one, it's definitely like not all on the up and up, all those products, but because I was on that radar, so I was really excited about that. Let's see if this purple's a little too ostentatious. That's not too bad. We're just focusing this purple on the darker recesses here. Pretty much all of the bottom of the cloak I'm going to go ahead, except for right there at the top, I'm going to paint the darker purple here. Only because it is the bottom of the cloak, it's all going to be in shadow. Hey, Pie Master, how you doing today? Come to join us while we paint an assassin and an archmage. This is the assassin, if you couldn't tell. Okay. So there we go, we got some of the purple going here. Get on the top of the cloak. We're going to get this into some of these folds and crevices, so stuff like down in here. And the same with the front here. Just gonna go follow along in all of these little cracks and crevices. Paint the inside of the hood as well. Just all the areas that are gonna be a darker shade of purple. Okay, cool. This is gonna be kind of our darker purple areas. Now we're gonna paint in. We're going to paint in all of our slightly lighter areas with orc blood. Oh, I might have mixed up my colors here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is so we got Grimoire purple, and the orc blood should be my brightest one, but we're gonna need to shake this one. It's always so bad. Yeah, it's definitely lighter than the others. Okay, cool. So on the big areas here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use some of this as kind of a mid-tone. So just kind of going along here and outlining the areas that we've already outlined. Just filling in all the areas here. And we'll need to blend these in there in a bit, but we'll get to that here in a bit. Our goal here is just to eliminate anything that's our primer color. Alrighty, we're almost done here with this. Get some more of this, get some of this mid-tone up here at the top here. Some of these erased sections. And back here we'll start the blending process. Just to smooth out this transition a little bit. So right here we're just mixing up these two paints. Because we're not going to do a true wet blend on all of this. We're just trying to hide the very clear distinction in color. We're just going to go through again. Kind of just paint over the lines in between the two, which is often going to just entirely cover up our initial when we're going out with the super dark purple. But we're just going to kind of hide all of that. The mix of the two colors. Adjusting it one way or the other just a little bit. And if we find that it's too dark, we're going to paint from the dark to the light, so like this. If it's too close to this color, like that, we paint from our light to our dark, like this. That should help us to maintain a smooth blend for this cloak. Okay. Oh, I was a little bit off camera there, my bad. There we go. Oh, okay, so this is what we're looking at now. Their cloak. Here, trying to just muddy up all the colors because I don't want any attention on the bottom side of the cloak here. I don't feel like anyone wants to see that. If we muddy it up, we don't have any sharp distinctions between colors. In areas like that, the eye won't be drawn there quite as much. Okay, cool. And then we have all the purple done on her. And I like this. We got 2 female characters tonight. Okay. Alright, I'm going to give my hands a 5-minute break from painting here. I've started getting myself in the habit of doing that every hour or so. So I'm going to be back in about 5 minutes. Normally this would be a QA time, but we don't have a lot of questions or anything going on in chat. So I'm just going to kind of step away from my desk for a bit, get some, actually I have tea, so I'll just chill for a little bit. But I will be back in about 5. Okay, so we are back. We're gonna keep working on the assassin. And we're gonna go ahead and do all of her armor bits and bobs now. So to do that, we're gonna go through with a coat of rigid leather. So this is just your basic leather tone, but it has a little bit of a green undertone to it. It's a little bright, but don't worry, we'll fix that. There is that. Okay. And we're just gonna paint. We're gonna paint all of the leather here, and I will do something different on her middle. Almost, it looks like a WWE belt, but it's more like a cotton piece, but not quite. Because this is supposed to be studded armor, but from the looks of it, one that seems like it'd be a little bit of a nightmare, but the studs aren't very pronounced throughout. We might be able to get away with doing it. We might try that. It's one of those things where it'll look really cool if we do it right, but if it doesn't look good, it'll look real bad. So, camera again, yeah. Okay. Do 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 do. Also go ahead and grab the scabbard here as well. While we're here, we might as well do a scabbard. I used to think scabbards were called scabbards because blood scabbed them closed and blood scabs. But that is about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I don't think that is the etymology of the word scabbard for sure. But we have to think. Who is this assassin going after? Is it an evil king? Or the hero of our tale? Because the hero of our tale, Theo, whose name is just made up. That's a terrible hero name, but actually, I'm going to text somebody now that I'm absolutely loving these brushes, and I need to know where he bought them, because I do love these. These are really great. Okay, cool. So we added that. We just got her leather there, and let's look at our art here. It's not helpful at all. Okay. Go ahead and we'll do the same down here. Block in our sections here. ahead, we'll throw a base coat on all of this here. And that paint's a little bit too thin, but that's okay. Now let's go ahead and do the center section with her belt and everything as well. Get her little dagger holder. I like doing some simple models like this. Last week we did the Arakakra and the Onkeg, and those were two pretty crazy models, and I like that with this painting challenge I get the opportunity to do big stuff and then basic stuff. Because this is my most common commission I get is for D&D figures, things like this. And I do enjoy them, do not get me wrong, but they're pretty simple projects. I usually charge just like a flat $10 per model for painting, something like this. Usually they're a little bit more detailed, but that's okay. Gonna go ahead and do her face mask here in the brown as well. Careful not to get too much on her skin here. I like doing common colors all in the same color first, so like there's going to be a couple different kinds of brown that we have going on here, but I like to do them all in a base coat first and then kind of see where I want to like direct the eye and such, if you will. I'll mix up a little bit of a highlight here for areas like this that I didn't think to go back and do. Just on the crests of some of these, but yeah, I like to do mod. Oops! Everybody, it's time to wake up. Oh, we gotta take a little scan of our airbrush cleaner here. It's midnight. Okay, where are we? Oh yeah, so the brown. I like to usually, I like to stick with a single base coat, unless I know very particularly. Like I recently did a Cad Bane model as a commission, and I knew that he was like all kinds of different leathers and all kinds of different colors of the leather. So I did them all very differently, but for something like this, I'll kind of base coat them all in the same, and then from there we're going to differentiate the what we're actually looking at based off of what it is. Just makes the base coating phase a little bit faster too. Like, did the assassin get her bracers from the same leathersmith that she got her belt? Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Do the bracers match, or are they two different kinds of leather? I don't know her like. So I'm gonna make it up as we go here. But for now, everything is brown. Going to Brown Town. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like Brown Town. That's not. We're not going to Brown Town. Alrighty. I think we hit it all. Except for this. I think this is a money pouch. Well, it is now. Okay, cool. So now we've added a little bit more color into our model. Now we're looking at this. So we're going to add a little bit more depth to the cloak here next. And we'll add a base coat to the... I think I am going to give her black boots. And then paint in the straps. So we'll add in a little bit more depth into the undercoat here. Her undershirt thingy, my bob. That's what we'll do next. I guess I should have my chat pulled up. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I like this Griff Charger gray. I will add it to the cloak areas here because it's starting to look. We're in some areas that are starting to look a little bit done, and some areas that are kind of taking away from the whole effect. So we want to kind of bring everything up to a closer level of complete so then we can start finalizing things. So I'll shake this over here so you don't have to hear it as much. Oh, that is a really piercing noise. Sorry if this is bothersome to everybody. I might look into getting a... Oh, and this is the Black Templar for the feet. And this is the Griff Charger Gray for the cloak areas. I'm not going to use my nice new brushes for that. We're going to go ahead and use a different brush. So we'll close that up just for a little bit here. And this one should do fine. This should be detailed enough to get into everywhere where you need to. I like the Griff Charger Gray because it's definitely got a blue tint to it. Well, okay, now that just looks black and very gray, but I promise it's got a whole blue tint to it. We'll try this here. Let's try it on the back of the leg here. So if we hate it, it's easy to clean up. There isn't really any. We're not trying to do anything crazy. We're just trying to make it look less like we just painted it with a straight gray for the base coat. Because we want the undershirt here to be almost white noise in the painting of the model. We want things like the armor and the cloak to be what we have the most attention drawn to. And the daggers. Daggers! The daggers, guys, the daggers! That's where we want the eyes on. Is all the accoutrement of the model. Not these little white noise details. Plus, the sculpt doesn't even have fingers, so we're just gonna move on. I could have done better when I was acquiring this, but it looked really, it looked so perfect. I loved the stance and the pose, it was very dynamic. And it just, yeah. I got excited. Alright, cool. So yeah, now we added the, just a little bit of gray into there to kind of add some more depth to those areas that we just blocked in before. And now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add some Black Templar to the legs. Not the legs, the boots. The boots. just gonna slather this over the whole thing. I want to know what universe all of these models for all these Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder games are, in which they're just literally always standing on rocks and rubble. I guess it kind of fits into like the Dungeons and Dragons. It could be just like dungeon terrain or an underground passage. But this is Pathfinder. It's not in the name the same way Dungeons and Dragons has it. And there we go. So that's gonna be quick. We're gonna need to wait for it to dry, but there's the boots done in just a black now. Alright, cool. So I'm gonna leave the daggers for now because I think I want to do something cool with those. But the next thing we're gonna tackle is actually let's go ahead and let's get it over with, and we'll just do her face. I don't think we're gonna be mucking around too much around there. So I think we're gonna use the Elven Flesh tone and then a Flesh Wash for the face here. We don't need a lot. That was probably already too much. We're gonna grab one of our tinier brushes here. Actually, I'll use this one. And I know that it's the size of the tip that you want for your brush, but this is one of those cases where in order to get in there, the size of the barrel of your brush, the body of your brush needs to be small too. So we're just gonna get a tiny little bit on the tip of our brush, just like that. We're gonna go in here, brace ourselves in a couple different spots, and we're just gonna go ahead and dab in. Put this on her face. We'll go back in and repaint in the eyes and such later. Okay, so we got a little watery in there, that's fine. We're gonna go here with a eraser brush, as I like to call them. I'm just gonna soak up a little bit of that moisture. So we don't have to wait for over wet paint to dry. So yeah, that's way too thin. It's a little bit better. And we are kind of cover a very dark area with a very light color, so. Okay. With that for now. We got the base coat on there. We need a silver for those daggers on her leg there. So we're going to grab a silver here. And we're just going to use gunmetal. And then just go ahead and paint these up. Nothing complicated, nothing crazy. There we go. And now her little leg things have some pop to them. Sorry. If you watch the channel, you know that I have really, really shaky hands. For sure, really shaky hands. But we still managed to paint at a halfway decent level here. Alright, cool. So we are getting there. We just need to continue on with some more of these details. We're going to go ahead and tackle the... So we got a couple things to do. We want to add just a couple highlights to the cloak here. Not necessarily on the back here, but more so on the front. We got to pick out that little detail on the front, which I'm actually going to do now in a... I'm going to do her little brooch in the silver as well. Yeah. And then we got to do the hilts of her daggers. We're going to do those in a black. Just a little bit of abyssal black here. And we're doing just the pommels. And for what I want to do on her dagger, we actually need a better... We're going to need a slightly lighter base coat on the back of the daggers here. So we're going to go through here, and this is just with the same ash gray that we used on the base coat of her cloak, of her undershirt. And we're just going to add a little bit of lightness. Nothing crazy. We're not trying to establish any base color or anything. It can still be a little bit darker with the black showing through. But we can't have it just be pure black. In fact, we're going to try and make sure that we get less. We don't want a negative edge on this weapon. Negative edge being where the darkest point is on the outside. An example of what I like to think of as a negative edge would be something like this. I think it's really cool. I don't do it very often. I should do it more. It's like a weapon like this, where we have, you see it all the time where we dry brush on a light color and the lightest parts are the edges, but this is kind of the inverse of that, just with a dark edge. Go back in your box, where I will never paint you, because I hate you. Okay. Alright, so we've kind of added that detail in. We can go in here now. We're going to add a little bit more of this, just to give her a wash, something to settle on, and something to filter through the wash tone. Okay, cool. So at this point in the model, with the exception of the pommel of, the hilt of her weapon and the blades themselves, nothing on this model has been unpainted. We're actually going to do the hilts right now in the silver. Which is always a good establishing point for like, hey, now we're going to start finalizing stuff. I like that. I always like that moment in the model where you're like, okay, cool, I've finished parts of it. I am at a good spot. Where'd to go? Alright, so we're at, what are we at? At 90 minutes. So at 90 minutes, we've gotten this far in these two models. And we kind of started focusing on this one a lot more, and that's just because I'm getting to good spots with it. Next, we're going to go ahead with a lighter brown, and we're going to add in some details here into like this raised edge and all of that. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with a little bit of a wash of the snakebite leather contrast paint, just to add some variation. Okay, actually everybody hold on for a minute. My computer's kind of going berserk right now. Give me a minute. Oh, okay. I will be right back. Oh. Actually, no, you guys can see that. Oh, I didn't actually mute. Okay, cool. So we're gonna add Tesseract Glow to one of the blades, and this is just something to try out. This might not look good. I might not like it, but these are paints that are gonna be pretty easy to cover up with what do you call it? A metallic. And there we go, boom. Boom. Yeah. Need to add one of those little paint agitator balls into here. Oh, and the other paint we're using is just Vallejo Fluorescent Orange. As you can see, That is crazy. This is like the brightest orange I've ever worked with. And on stream, it looks like almost a pale yellow on the camera there. That is absolutely bonkers. Like, if you're familiar with Citadel paints, this is definitely a brighter orange than like Troll Slayer orange. There we go. Now we have our assassin daggers. She's ready to assassinate people. Look out, you bad guys. Okay. And then we're going to add some Guilliman flesh onto the face. Bow. Pow. It's going on the face. That's really nice, quick and easy. Okay, cool. That we're done with. We never even used that. This we're done with. This we're done with. I think we're done with that as well. Just putting some paints away. So we got a lot of painting left to do. I don't want my whole space to get super crowded. I think we're done with that for now. Okay, so here's where we stand. So yeah, we're definitely starting to get there. So we need to wait for that wash to dry in that middle section there. So while that dries, because that'll be the last thing we do, we're going to go ahead and move on over to our wizard here, who's looking a lot less done. He did not get as much love, but that's fine. That's fine because we have some paints to put away, and then we're going to work on all of her wizard robes. Put some of these paints away. You go there, you go there. I don't need you. It's on the pallet. And we don't need these. All this. We need none of you. Now we use a nice mid-tone blue. And we use light blue as our highlight, or electric blue. That's really bright. What's that? That's ultramarine blue. Where's light blue? That's crystal blue. That's deep blue. This is light blue. That's about tonally the same. Same hue. Something. I know there's a difference between hue and tone, and I always forget, and I always get them mixed up. How's my eraser brush looking? It's still dry, nice and plump. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start adding in some. We're gonna do this one a little bit differently, given that there's so many creases and such on this robe. I'm going to start by adding the lighter tone on top, and then I'm going to add a mix in the middle. So this is our light tone, this is the light blue. Given how much I shake these fucking paints, I really need to get myself one of those mixers. Oh my goodness. Alright, so light blue. Get the drops in. Okay. Guys, we need to focus. It's time to get serious. And get to brushing. I think it might actually be time for new water. No, it's not. It looked black from where I was sitting before. Alright, cool. So we got a little bit of blue. Let's go ahead and start adding in just along the tops. in a less transparent layer. There we go. And again, just like we did with the purple, this doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't need to be precise, we're just trying to get establishing shots of highlights and shadows. I am an Archmage. I am a female though. I am an Archmage. And this is the part of the stream where Ricky loses his insanity. Alright, cool. Cool, cool, cool. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Okay. Okay, so we're going to change our plan up here. We're going to do this instead. We're going to add some Ultramarines blue in first. Just was not being very clean. Shaky hands were too shaky. That's what happened there. Mix it up. That. Oh no. Oh no, guys, I did the thing. I did the thing. Oh no. Here, you guys can see the thing. I did the thing where I spilled the water, and now it's everywhere. I need a technical difficulties thing, but I don't have one, so I'll be back. Okay, cool, and we're back. And I don't know if you all noticed, but I was able to do that without posting a picture to Facebook. So, those of you that are in mini painting communities will understand that reference and that joke a little bit. Alright, cool. Back to it. Back to doing the things. Okay. So what we were doing is we were adding in some middling blue into our model here. And I think, I don't know, did I ever shake this up? I don't think I ever shook this paint up. Yeah. So you can usually tell when your paint isn't very well shaken up. If you go to paint with it and it looks like you should be getting a good solid coat and it just comes out either in just clumps or slightly filmy, it's the medium of your paint that's giving you some issues there. And I used to always just think it was because my paint was too thin. But yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. But yeah, you can definitely tell when your paint's not separated correctly, or is not separated, or is separated. Oh my goodness. Just kind of adding in some lighter areas into all these this very dark blue that we established earlier tonight. man, there's a lot of model here, so we're just throwing this all the way around. Kind of just arbitrary deciding sometimes what area is going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit darker. Almost there. And this is definitely going to be a series of pass-throughs. And you can see that our robes here are getting a little bit lighter, which is exactly what we want. Painting on top of all the folds, attempting not to paint on the bottom of them. On the top of the head here. Building up color all the way around all of the model here. Many, many passes. Where'd my phone go? Okay, no one. Yeah, we're good. Now you could spend many hours working on every single fold, increase, and crevice on this. But we're painting everything in the monster manual. And this could probably be a 5-hour model with all of these folds, increases, and crevices on something like this. But we are not going to spend that kind of time on this. I'm trying to make it look pretty decent. Adding little bits of depth here and there. And you don't even have to be super precise about variations in color over the whole of the model. You want to make sure that the things that are dark appear darker than the things that they are next to. The things that need to appear a little bit lighter are just lighter than the things next to them. So prime example here is looking at this model. This bottom section should probably be at its lightest, still darker than this at its lightest, but given that you're never going to compare up here to down there, it's not as big of a deal if it's not a huge stark difference. But it needs to be lighter than the areas directly adjacent to it. And that way, you won't go crazy trying to get a whole color scheme to make sense. In the scope of itself, it just needs to make sense. Sorry, it doesn't need to be sensical in the sum of its parts. It just needs to be sensical in the individual sections. There we go. Dip into this a little bit. Kind of add just a tiny little bit here. The tips here. Now here with our lighter blue, we're just going to go ahead in areas where we want our contrast to be even lighter. I'm just going to use it to crank up this blue just a little bit more. So this light blue should never be applied on its own. It should only ever be applied in conjunction with the mid-tone blue that we have here. Using these couple of tricks, we go from just a solid dark blue to something with a lot of color in it. Okay, cool. So now you can see, and I brought that really close to my face, so I'm really sorry that I forgot to bring this back over here. But this is where we're at now with the model. So now we've really started to add some depth into those robes. And actually now they look more like flowing robes. Whereas before they just looked like solid blue. So now we got something more like that to work off of. Now we're hitting hour 2 of the stream, and I'm going to take a break again for my hands, and I will be back in about 5. So I'm going to go ahead and close up the wet palette here. And I'll leave you looking at our 2 wonderful models as they currently stand. And I will be back in about 5. Gotta unmute yourself. All right, we are back. Actually, I'm curious. Okay, I have a mute button on my headset. I am just going to use that from now on. All right, reapply this because my mouth is hurting. Oh, chronic pain. You suck, you really suck. Okay. So now we're going to start to pick out some of these details on this Archmage. Alright, so we're going to go back to the same brown as before on our palette here. And go ahead and paint in something like this brown satchel. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and paint in some of those other details as well that are going to be brown by the end of the project here. And as always, just in case anyone's watching here, if you want to see finalized versions of this, go ahead and check out my Instagram at GoodEnoughPainting. I usually do the basing and stuff just in my spare time throughout the day or while I'm waiting on other parts of the project. So I don't do that here on this stream. This one is all just about painting the models themselves. I occasionally do basing and stuff on my Tuesday night streams, but for the next 2 weeks, actually, if anyone's watching here, we got the Dominion box coming up. The Dominion box is the starter set for Age of Sigmar, and we are going to be painting up some of that live on stream because my goal is to get that done in 1 week because I am offering a special discount on the commission painting of that box. Again, if you're not familiar with my commission painting services, originally I started Good Enough Painting because I was helping people paint their models that weren't able to paint them themselves. So people with either disabilities of some kind or, you know, people like veterans, I was offering really big discounts, and that's what I was going for when I started Good Enough Painting. So we don't have crazy tiers. I'm never going to paint something that's going to win you a local contest. I I've pushed myself on painting models and gotten really, really good results, but I don't enjoy the stress that comes with it. So I just do the 2 levels. Everything that you see here on my stream is the level 1 painting that you would pay for, and level 2 is just a little bit extra, for a little bit extra betterness, I guess you could say. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing that on Tuesdays here coming up, and I'm excited to get all that done. I really want to get the whole box set painted up before I start any of the commissions. I have a few locked in for it. I think I capped out the deal at 5, but I already got 2 of the slots picked up. So I'm going to be painting 3 sets of the Dominion box, my own, and then 2 for other people. And this is not a fun sculpt right now. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what any of this stuff is. I'm just kind of painting it. Ugh. I hate it when this happens. Because that's not even sculpt, that's actually a... This down here isn't even the actual sculpt, it's a manufacturing error. Oops. So we'll tidy up this a little bit here with our dark blues. Oh, I guess I should open up my chat. Yep. Okay, going back to our dark brown here. Gonna go ahead and just flush out these base coats. So I'm not going to do this one as a 2-parter, but I don't think we're actually going to get the Archmage done here on tonight's stream, unfortunately. So definitely check that out if you want to get a finalized view of this. I have some other projects I need to get working on tonight. And I got some stuff to do tomorrow, so I can't stay up crazy late. It's already pushing, oh, it's only 1 AM here. But I got some other stuff to do. I got some video editing and some recording and scripts to write for my next YouTube video. I started doing all 3 in tangent rather than waiting until the end to do the former steps, or the middling step there. That's out of the 3 that I said. Huh. Just to kind of cut down on production, because it's weird stopping all crafting and then going into entirely video editing mode. Is this loose or am I crazy? It's just a little bit loose. That's okay. Go ahead and squeeze that a little bit. But we'll say, I will post it, or I'll mention it next time on the next stream. These are the new set of brushes that I got from a friend, and I am absolutely loving them. And he's like an artist. So I was a little bit nervous that they would be too fancy, but no, these are awesome. I think I'm actually going to paint these in gold, but I'm going to base coat in brown, because if you've never tried painting gold over brown, go ahead and give it a try. It's a lot better than trying to just paint gold. kind of the similar concept of gray and silver. Saves you a couple of coats. What time is it? Been online for 2 hours and 20 minutes almost. So we only got about 10 minutes left in this stream. Let's go ahead and finish this brown base coat. And until, for those of you that are watching now, thank you very much. But until I get a few more viewers, I gotta commit a little bit less of my time to these streams and a little bit more towards the YouTube stuff and the channels, just because I got only a certain amount of hours every day and my day job is very, very busy. And we want to make sure that we are spending all of our time appropriately. And I'm thinking green for the trim. Or just straight up gold, maybe. Or silver. I think that would be pretty sick if we were to put in like a silver. Picturing it now in my mind's eye. Ugh. Yeah, I think we might do silver on the trim here, because this is the sculpt we're using. And so, yeah, I think silver all over would be pretty sick. All right, so to wrap up, we painted this today. You can see pictures of the base done and everything on it on the Instagram, probably, what did it say, Saturday? I'll probably get those up Wednesday. This one, same thing, on Wednesday. Tonight, I will be posting up the final pictures of last week's A from the Monster Manual monsters, which was the Arakakra and the... oh no, tomorrow I'll be posting the Arakakra and the Ankeg, because I wrapped those up earlier this week. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches. This isn't in any way, shape, or form something that makes me money on the Twitch and the YouTube. This is just fun to share the hobby and get some people to hang out with. I felt really isolated when I was doing my hobbying before, and it's really nice to get involved with people again. And my wife said go for it, so I did. But thank you all. Oh no, I got a new person talking in the chat. Ed the Dread says, I'm killing it. Thank you, Ed the Dread. Thank you. You came in right at the end. I will, hopefully you'll catch me a little bit earlier next time. But the recording of this entire session is going to be up on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, you'll be able to catch it there on YouTube. And vice versa, if you want to watch me live on YouTube. If you're watching now on YouTube and you want to watch me on Twitch, same thing. It's just good enough painting. But that's going to actually kill it for tonight's stream. Is going to be, we're going to leave it here. And I'll get pictures of these up when they're done. And again, what we're doing here is we're painting everything in the Monster Manual, live every Friday. Usually we get 2 things done, unless we do something bigger, and then we only do 1. Or in the case of something like the Andra Sphinx from a couple weeks ago, we do it over the course of a couple weeks. Anyway, thank you all very much for joining me. I hope that you have a phenomenal rest of your day, and that you paint all of your minis that you want to paint today. And just know that no matter how good they are or how bad they are always, always good enough.